Thanks for joining us. This is our extended interview with Kim Bennett, founder of K. Bennett Law and co-founder of Atlanta Legal Tech. The first part of this video is from our GNGF Live, which happens every other Wednesday over on our Facebook page. The second part here, in this bonus extended interview, we dive into specific steps a law firm owner should take to add subscription-based services to their law firm. If you already saw the live, I'll put the timestamp to the exclusive extended part below. And be sure to like and subscribe to follow along with all of our great conversations on legal marketing and the business side of running a law firm. And to watch this video on your platform of choice, you can find everywhere we stream at GNGF TV. Welcome to GNGF Live, your bi-weekly Ask the Experts about all things law firm marketing and business growth. I'm Mark Homer, author of Online Law Practice Strategies and founder of Get Noticed, Get Found. On this show, we focus on the business side of growing and running your law firm. So I'm excited to have today's guest, Kim Bennett, trademark and business strategy attorney at her firm, K. Bennett Law. She's a perfect guest because Kim is a recognized leading voice on ditching the billable hour and getting more personal freedom as a law firm owner by building a subscription-based service in your law firm. Kim also founded Atlanta Legal Tech alongside Jennifer Downs and friend of the show, Aaron Gershenzang. Atlanta Legal Tech is a community of lawyers and supporting legal industry players designing the new practice of law. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to our page, not just the video, so you can get updated when our next episode goes live. Of course, it never hurts for you to show just a little love and hit that like button on the video too. It really does help us with the Facebook and YouTube algorithms. So we've got moderators in the chat. Ask questions and interact during this premiere. But if you're watching this in the future, after the premiere, we do monitor the comments and we'll reach out to our guests and answer any follow-up questions you have. That's because we love you all, and we love getting to meet you online and in person. So you can find a list of our upcoming webinars or events where we're going to be speaking on our website at gngf.com/events. And on weeks when we're not premiering an interview, we typically drop a video as part of our GNGF Tips series. These are in-depth videos focusing on one topic at a time. Check it out on our YouTube page or just by heading to gngf.tv. You can watch our latest video, after this interview of course, at that link in the chat. So check them out. Like I said, we drop a new GNGF Tips video every other Friday. All right, let's get to the interview. Kim, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So we've gotten to know each other a lot this past crazy year through a lot of virtual happy hours because of COVID. And then, luckily I was able to come down and join the Atlanta Legal Tech community. But for the benefit of the audience, tell us a little bit about your legal journey.
Sure. So I am a practicing trademark and business strategy attorney. I like to say I am a chief legal officer for businesses scaling from 7 through 9+ figures of annual revenue, typically, sometimes beyond that. And I have been on this journey since 2007, pre-market crash. Started as a JD PhD student, decided at some point to ditch the PhD journey and continue down that legal path. And fast forward to today, after working in-house and firm, doing my own thing, doing all probably the ways you could do legal, I have been building a subscription-based law firm for several years. So it's about a decade now. And It's been a fun journey. And I've learned a lot along the way and opened up several businesses in the midst of all of that too. So that's my journey.
Awesome. And which is why, I think, I'm so thankful that you were able to join us, because when it comes to marketing the business side of running a law firm, you got a lot of stuff dialed in. In fact, teach it to all many other lawyers. So this is awesome. So thank you for joining us. So one of the questions I have is when, and more importantly, why, right? On the why, did you kind of start really thinking the non-billable legal service product is kind of the way to go here?
Yeah, it started after I left corporate, post-market crash. And essentially what happened was I was working with clients and I was billing hourly and I stopped getting paid. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to work and I need to figure out another way. And that led me down this path of, well, what if I just pitched, hey, I liked working when I was at a company and getting paid consistently on time all the time. So what if I pitched that to people that I worked with? And I pitched it and they said yes so fast that I kicked myself because the yes was so fast. I'm a negotiator by heart. So I was like, I started at the wrong number. Right. But that just started me on the journey of just continually saying, well, if I just pitch them a flat fee ongoing, what if I just showed up that way? And that took me to today. So it just started with trying to solve a problem, not getting paid all the time, wanting to still build a business that worked for how I wanted to show up. I knew when I first started, I was always virtual from out the gate, even if it wasn't fully allowed. I just was like, well, I'll be compliant, but also built a virtual based firm. And I did all those things. And that's how I've always moved with my business and how I've tried to move in other business models that I've done as well.
So as you've kind of grown this over the past 10 years now, right? And I've seen you speak on the billable hour and how much you hate the billable hour, right? So what is inherently wrong with the billable hour for like a law firm owner?
Yeah, so many things, so many things. I think the billable hour, so I was listening to something where the billable hour is it's really still a recent phenomenon with us, but it took such a strong hold in our industry that if clients know us for anything, sadly, they know us for hourly billing, which is a pretty sad thing. But I think more importantly, it's impacted the attorney-client relationship. It's impacted the wellness of attorneys. It doesn't allow you to be efficient. It doesn't allow you to think from a growth mindset. It doesn't allow for you to really, I think, dive into learning again. We learned all this time in law school, then you get out and you're just thinking, well, I just got to work. But if you're working and you're not pouring back into yourself, whether that's from a well-being perspective or from a knowledge perspective, you're going to stay stuck. And I think it created that unhealthy partnership tracks. It created all these, high substance abuse rates. This industry is stressful. So I'm not going to say it's all about the billable hour, but I think the mindset that comes with it leads into the outcomes that we've seen. And when I stopped doing it, and I actually didn't come out of law school doing it because I worked in corporate. So then going into working and starting to do it, I thought this just feels not great. And when I switched, it was one of the best wellness hacks that I made for my life. And then it became a profit hack. So I never went back.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't thought about that either, right? I mean, the relationship being defined with a lot of in the psyche of clients and in the minds of clients, right, is that billable hour model where you hear the jokes all the time. It's like, well, don't call your attorney. 15 minutes, you're getting charged.
Which is so sad. Like
right?
We're not. It's not like helpful. It's not like, oh, we're helping you transition to this amazing piece in your life or in your business, or we got you out of a sticky situation. It's if you call them, they might send you a bill.
Yeah. So. How does the billable hour then, so you talk about how does it actually reduce, because I've heard you talk about it reducing a law firm owner's freedom. And you just mentioned you have more flexibility now, you have more profit now, you have built something the way you want to live, build a business around that. So how does billable hour kind of affect that?
Yeah. And I would say when I first did this, I definitely was looking to build a lifestyle-based practice and not, I knew I was like, get to a certain number, cool. As long as I can live my life, travel the world, do what I wanted to do, felt good. As I've continued to scale now, I treat it, it's a business model, right? It's not this law firm model that's actually not based on business principles. It's based off of business principles and seeing what works across industries and applying it and really thinking about the freedom comes with predictability. The freedom comes with forecastability. Right. The freedom comes with being able to make decisions on hiring team members, even in the midst of COVID. I mean, I brought on a new team member. I've, had best revenue months. I've had, growth happen month after month. So I'm still looking at it as a place of just giving myself the space to breathe and think without always feeling so anxious about the next month. And that's something that I see a lot of my peers still struggle with, whether they've been practicing for 1 year or 10 or 15 years. And that makes me sad because there's so much more that we should be doing. And I think about all the things that are happening in the world and how we should be showing up as attorneys and how can we do that impactful work if we're stressed out and overworked. And I think people really think attorneys make great money. I'm never going to say they don't, but there's a whole chunk that don't, or a whole chunk that are doing it really unhealthy in an unhealthy way. And if thinking through a different way of showing up and building a business that's based off sound business principles and understanding that we can't do it all, and then we should work with teams like yours to bring us that expertise that we just don't have. I think it opens up your mind to oh, this is where I sit and this is how I can help my business grow by bringing on others that have their zone that can support me. And that's all the things that have come from me working in this way.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean that predictability was an interesting word, right? I mean, like having that predictability to be able to say, well, I know this is much is coming in, and we're growing about this much, so I feel confident bringing team members on. I feel confident on some capital software investment or whatever, right? I mean, like there are expenses in a business where you're really nervous. You stay up at night, as a business owner, and having that predictability is very key. I know as a business owner, and at the agency here, right? Like we built, like kind of over yearly contracts and that kind of stuff, and with services built into that, and it's given us the ability for the same thing during COVID and in the pandemic. I mean, fortunately, we're digital marketing, which tended to be where a lot of people needed to go really quick, but we did the same thing, had predictable revenue, knew that like things were there, didn't lose a client during all this, and had like added 2 people right during all like in fact we just have a third coming on, so it's been that predictability is huge. And the fact I like that point of these are sound business principles, right? This is a lot of businesses, old businesses moving this way, right? So you have like big technology companies changing from the software model to the subscription model,
I mean, I look at it like, what if the movie theaters didn't kick out that, what's the app now? Movie phone, right?
Yeah.
What if they actually just work with them? Imagine where they might have been today. But they were like, no, we're not going to work with you. It might have been like, other factors behind the scenes, but there's a reason subscriptions are working. I'm not saying it's the end all be all, it's going to be forever, but it's where we are today. And so if we don't adjust and if we don't understand why it's working, then we're going to be stuck in models that are just unhealthy still and don't lead to the freedom that we envisioned, or only leads to the freedom of like the top few in the organization, which is not what I want as a business owner.
Right. No, I totally agree. So since you speak on this at conferences all over and webinars and everything now, you've heard a lot of reasons why people can't stop, the billable hours, what they have to do, and it's for these reasons or that reason. So what are some of the biggest reasons you hear why someone can't stop charging by the hour?
Yeah, they just don't. It's like, well, why would I? I'm not going to make as much money. How do I know I'm going to get paid for what I do? Some of it is just fear of, if I stop, what if my clients want that? What if my clients are saying, well, that's the only way I want to show up? It's like letting go of control of how you're designing your business. It's just saying, well, if that's the only way, that's it. And a lot of people also just don't think it's possible. They don't see it as a model. They don't see it as worthwhile. They might be bringing in great revenue, but they're actually not tracking their numbers to see. So in their mind, they're thinking it's all working, but they're not actually taking the time to go deeper and to see if the way they think the numbers are working, if they actually are working that way. And so I think some of the larger firms, they do, but they have a whole model set up. But I also think some of it is, the reason they don't is because their entire model was set up to do that. So if I've talked to larger firms who've asked me to like, hey, can you help me design my subscription? And they want to do it. The roadblock is someone else at the firm that is thinking about the entire structure of the firm and saying, well, how will this impact my entire structure? How does this change my value? If I'm not saying I'm billing at $1,000 or $750 an hour, does that make me as good of an attorney? And like, because that's what hourly rates were equating to. Like, honestly, it was like, oh, the higher your rate, the higher attorney. So there's some personal beliefs that people hold true with hourly that they think that kind of attaches to them. Then there's some structural issues, and there's just some just with lack of knowledge and just believe that ethics tells them they can't do it without actually reading it. So I've heard every variation of why it doesn't work, except that, hey, I've actually talked to the people that they've been doing it for 10 or 5 or 7 years that are working well. So,
Yeah, and at the, you had people at large law firms, and you're right. I mean, there are whole structures in place at large law firms to help them figure out, utilization and all these numbers and know like, okay, are we making money at this? But if somebody takes that same model, and I think that's what kind of happened, right? People took that model and just created the same thing at a, small, medium-sized law firm, and it maybe doesn't work, especially when you look at the amount you make. Like you said, somebody may get paid really well, but divided by the number of hours you're working.
Yeah.
And like look at the staff you've had to do to kind of get there, or like you said, like the stress and everything. So the full number isn't there. Maybe in large law firms, they have people who are focused on just tracking those numbers. In a smaller firm, I mean, that's the owner, right? And they're billing by the hour, so they don't have any time to do that stuff. So.
Right. And I think people don't again, it's back to what we were talking about earlier. They don't use business principles. So
Mm-hmm.
you're just bringing in the money, but like, are you bringing in profit? How are you spending that money? It's not the lack of being really intentional about business design is missing to me when I speak to a lot of people. And that's one of the biggest things that we, like, even when I'm coaching, that I'm supporting people on, is like, hey, let's just first start at the very beginning, at like stage one. Yes, you want to package and price it. So those that are interested want to package and price like today. I'm like, but who are you serving? Like, what are you
Right.
packaging and pricing for, like the random being out there, or like, let's take the time to go deeper. So there's so many reasons that, and so many differences. And I agree with like taking that big firm model and just dropping it in the medium, dropping into small. And I even watched when big firms have done like trying to do the tech model, and then you just see them trying to do it. I think we would find more success taking from small and growing it up. And I think that's kind of what's starting to happen with some of these other models, where big firms are like, no way. And all of a sudden, if a small firm is doing it without nearly the support that you have, imagine what they can do, right? And
Right.
so,
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. And I mean, for these innovative small firms, I mean, fortunately, it takes a lot to move a big firm. So because they do have the resources, but there's a lot of inherent kind of like the way we always did it, kind of like mentality in there. So
yep.
so there is a lot of opportunity for small firms right now to be innovative
I
and
think it always, I mean, that's the thing with small business, right? That's what makes us great. Like when I say I love some of the big companies that other attorneys don't, they're large, like organizations that will have all the red tape. I worked in large organizations. You can't make the moves that fast. But me,
mm-hmm.
oh, I can decide. I can make a quick shift, and it makes sense because it was thought through and it was strategic and it aligns with my, short and long-term goals. Let's go for it and see what happens. And I love that about being a business owner and being in this space to grow.
Yeah, and I love that you keep saying like you're thinking at it from a business model, a business owner. Like I've heard you talk about like thinking profit first and some of this stuff in terms of like the not profit first, but like there's a methodology around profit first, right? The profit
Yes.
first kind of methodology principles and stuff. Like that is to me like fascinating because there's just a lot of people that I think don't, and man, there's so much opportunity, and like it's like you just want to like say, look, it's so awesome. Like you mentioned, Clio said like was it only like 8% or something like that. Like, there was a really small percent that are even thinking about this stuff, let alone doing it well, right?
Yeah.
Of law firms. So there's all kinds of opportunity because, by the way, those 8% are doing it. I mean, you're living proof, right? Like you've been doing it for a while,
Right.
and and you've got tons of coaching clients that you help do it as well, right? So that's it's fascinating. So why? So like we talked about, like some of the issues with the billable hour and some hiccups there. But why should a law firm owner think about subscription-based services? Like what? So compare and contrast that, right? So billable hour, all the issues we talked about. Like what is the freedom that comes with thinking subscription services? We talked about predictability a little bit.
Yeah. So here's why. So if you ditch billable, then you're doing flat fee. Flat fee
Mm-hmm.
was great, and I did flat fee, and I only probably recently doubled down on 100% subscription. But we when you do flat fee, it's great, but you get paid once, and then you still have to go back out and continue to get. So like depending on that timeline. So if you do a year, a flat fee that goes across a year, then great, you have some some time. Not all lawyers bill like that. Maybe litigators maybe have that, but not all. So if you're more of a transactional attorney, you're billing flat, there is still
Mm-hmm.
that ebb and flow of income. And you can have some predictability and you can watch it, but when you have a certain stable amount of revenue, it brings another level of security. So I do think it takes away some of the ebbs and flows of even flat fee. But then more importantly, the other things it's a relationship driven practice, right? So like if you
Mm-hmm.
really believe in building relationships with your clients and that you are like the trusted advisor for them, not that you have to be the everything attorney, but you still might be the only attorney that they touch, particularly for small and medium sized firms. People might not have 10 attorneys in their pocket they're going to call, but they have enough issues for 10 attorneys that they could probably have asked some questions to. But now
Right.
if you become deepen that relationship and you make it both beneficial for you and them, you can help them resolve issues faster. You can also bring more profit to your business, which then brings more revenue to your business, which then can hopefully lead to profit and then allow for you to do some other things. And so there's that. Also, the access to justice piece. So if you're a business that actually cares about that, then you'll have more space. But for me, it's relationship driven. For me, it's about, it is the predictability. It's a lot about like, forecastability, even beyond the predictability of revenue, what you can do and what you can change. But there's so many great advantages to it, and getting rid of the ebbs and flows of money as a business owner and as the leader of a business allows for you to make some big, bold decisions that maybe you were fearful of making, but for this, having this stable revenue. And most of the people that I've worked with that have, like, through the COVID time, they were like, I'm so glad I had that. There was a month that I wasn't sure, but then all of those clients had the relationship. So they didn't want to lose that. And they thought, well, I'm still going to need this. How do I show up? And then even some people that, I haven't coached, but I know they do this type of subscription, but maybe for a lower cost. They might have lost some clients because of that. But then another group came in because they realized they needed some support. So I think you really can hone in on who you're working with and learn them better when you go with longer lasting relationships, and you just become a better practitioner, a better person to show up in the industry and beyond. So many benefits.
And I mean, compare that to what we talked about, where we were joking earlier, like in the mindset of a lot of clients is, I don't want to call my lawyer, right, who I trust and love, because like how much am I going to charge for this, or I'm just going to call them, they're going to bill me to tell me how much they're going to bill me, right, or how much it's going to cost me, to this relationship-based model where it's like, well, I'm subscribing to this lawyer, so when I have this question pop up, I'm going to call them, and they can kind of help guide me and say, yeah, that's within the bounds, or that's some extra stuff, or what, right? It's
exactly.
It's a proactive relationship, it feels. Absolutely.
I mean, most service-based relationships I find are much more reactive. So it like waits to it versus moving in the proactive, where like if you're building a business, if you're living your life, you have big goals you're going after. So ideally, most people don't want to sit in like fire zone. So I give the analogy, I didn't do that when I was doing my other thing, but I usually give this analogy that most people work in fires. We're not going to eliminate all fires, but I wanted like a light flame, And so like people come to me with a light flame, I can put that out. If you come to me with a fire, they get fire pricing, and then it destroys the relationship. So there's so many things, business, personal, that everyone has those big goals. Every business has big goals. So if we can come into and be a part of that conversation earlier, we can support people in ways that we would have never imagined. And I believe what it also does is it opens up people to be more curious and creative about how they show up. And that's the real interesting piece, because once people embrace it and start seeing how they can show up, it shifts the services they offer, it shifts the client relationship, it shifts their financial outcomes, because all that grows.
So, I mean, I love this concept of, like that, sharing the goals, right? It's something like I think we try to approach with our clients from a marketing perspective is like, yeah, we can, try to get some leads for you, but like, why? Like where are you going? What do you want to do? Like, there's very different business goals that should be a different marketing strategy that, leads down to different tactics. And getting in those conversations, like makes me feel that we get to, be, when something pops in their head, they don't go, oh, should I do this? They're going to sell me something. They call and say, hey, I heard this really good webinar about this other marketing tactic. How does that fit in what we're doing? And we can have this like really cool proactive conversation about where they want to go, how that fits in, and yeah, maybe go for that. Like that sounds like a great thing or not. But to like from a business owner perspective, having those conversations, with on like a new contract or a new subscription idea that we have, it's like, well, how would that work on a contract perspective? Can I pick up the phone and call my attorney? Right. But if I had that subscription model, like it would be a lot less less of a barrier to kind of go, oh, well, I don't want to pay $3,000 for this, like
right. It's
one off here.
And I think I think it's also like the barrier reduction too means that if they trust you, they're going to be like, okay, let's go with that. Let's go. Let's do that. Like we can step into our power as advisor, as like issue spotter, as like seeing the big picture and being able to put the puzzle together, and then hone our skill at explaining it better, because we do bad at that, right? Most attorneys aren't the greatest. Or like we're all working at being better. We can hone our skill at, showing how much the law touches everyone's life. I think what ended up, when we went back to the earlier conversation about hourly and what's bad about hourly, yes, it's clients only know us for hourly, but they don't know us actually about anything else. And that's the main piece. People don't even realize how much the law touches your life. And I like to say, like everything is legal. The law touches every single piece of your life. There's nothing that you're doing today that doesn't have some legal implication. There's the laws around the production of a product, the laws around how the food gets you, the laws around, I live in a condo, how a condo association needs to move. All that stuff is like part of people's daily life, but they only look at us as fire extinguishers because that's how we position ourselves, because we fail to really go deeper. And I think if we move into a model that allows us to go deeper, we'll have better outcomes for ourselves and our clients.
I love that. Love that. So I want to pause on that because I want to switch gears real quick and talk about, since we're proud sponsor and member of, Atlanta Legal Tech, which you co-founded, right, with Aaron, and who's also been on GNGF Live, and Jennifer. So tell the audience about the community, because we love it, and you're a big part of it there.
Yeah, so Atlanta Legal Tech is our community where a couple of years ago, Jen and I took over a meetup group that was going in Atlanta. So I've always gone to meetups. It's one, I moved around, built a virtual practice. So I've lived in New York and Pennsylvania, Georgia, California. I've moved around. And in that space, I've always jumped to meetups because it's a way for me to meet people, right? And so we met and it was at a legal tech meetup, and we're like, maybe we could just start hosting our own events, and just see what happens. And then we started taking it over, and then we met Aaron along the way, and we had this bright idea to, let's just throw a conference. I don't know, let's do it. And in another life, I should say, I ran a couple of businesses. I used to run an event business. I was like, let's do it. Let's see what happens. So we decided to start doing summits, and we've done these like iterations of it. This is our third year. We got one off, as you said, in January. I don't even know how. It was like one of the maybe few legal conferences that got off before the world shut down.
Yeah.
And it's been great. It's a community for those that believe in well-being, that believe in activism, that believe in innovation, that believe in leadership, that want to show up differently, that want to do the work and just, lawyers are risk adverse. So when you're a lawyer that wants to do things a little differently and you want to be really creative and you want to flex that creative muscle, sometimes you get no's from a lot of your peers. Well, how are you doing that? No way. Like I have friends today, even still, that have a hard time with bringing on practice management tools. And I'm like, really? Post-COVID still? They're learning better. But, so we're the community of those that really love innovation and doing things differently and pushing the boundaries and really showing up, not just as legal professionals, but as a part of the broader community. And we believe that in the partnership of bringing together those that know their area and letting that shine and supporting lawyers and saying, hey, you don't need to be the marketing expert, go to the marketing experts. You don't need to be this, go to that. And where you shine, do that, and come as together as a community and start taking action and work. So that's what we've been doing. We've been doing our summits. We actually have one coming up at the end of the year. So that's coming, which was supposed to be in August, but COVID. Right. So we moved it to the end of the year. So it's been a great journey of just having awesome conversations, helping people build their business, and really stepping into that, kind of this next chapter of being well-being meets activism meets innovation leadership kind of model now.
Right. And I would agree that, it's there's a lot of like-minded people there that are just, flourishing with each other. It was a great community you've built. And it's not just Atlanta. It's
right.
We say,
that's just the name.
But, yeah, we're changing the name. There were people from all over the country. When I was there in January. So
yeah,
that was awesome to see.
Yeah, it was cool. We had people from West Coast, South, Southwest, East Coast. I think we hit every section of the U.S. And we're small. So when we do our events, they're meant to be small. And you know that because you've been there. They're meant to be really small, really workshop focused. So when COVID
hit, totally hands-on.
Yeah, because that's what we like. And when COVID hit, the next workshop, so we do summits, which are a longer version, multiple days. Mm-hmm. Then we did a workshop, which was hands-on, which was great. And it helped people move forward in that too.
That was awesome. Okay, so we're about out of time on our Facebook portion of the show, but I've got more questions we didn't even get to. So if you don't mind sticking around, we can post that up on YouTube on Friday.
Sure.
That'd be great. Awesome. So, but before we go, how do people get a hold of you? How do people connect either with you or with the legal tech community, or find out more about your subscription stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, there's several ways you can connect with me, but probably the easiest is either through the Modern Legal Collective. So hello at modernlegalcollective.com. And I have free resources there that you can access, but you could just reach out and we can chat if you're interested in subscriptions. And then, of course, there's the Atlanta Legal Tech community that we're there. We're open. If you go to atlantalegaltech.com, but since I'll say it here, go to designingthenewlegal.com, which is going to be the new name switch that will be coming. And you can go to that website, find out about us. And if you're interested, join.
Designing the New Legal. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that little inside tidbit there.
Yeah.
So we'll get those in the chat. So Joe or somebody will throw those in the chat for us to make sure that everybody can connect with you. And then stick with me for a second, and I'll come back and I have a few more questions for you.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe to our Facebook page so you can get notified when our next episode goes live. We have new interviews about law firm marketing and the business side of running your firm here every other Wednesday. And we're going to keep going here in the GNGF studios, so you can watch the full extended interview with Kim Bennett this Friday over on our YouTube channel. We'll be diving into more detail about the specific steps you need to take to start a subscription-based service in your law firm. See you then. Thanks for sticking with me, Kim.
Sure.
Awesome. So there's never enough time in 25 minutes to cover everything, So I wanted to kind of get into more specific things. So what are some of the initial challenges you see, right? So somebody's, a law firm goes, this is a good idea. What are some of the big challenges people face kind of like jumping into subscription-based services?
Yeah. After coaching it for a bit and just taking a review of what I did, I think going out to market with too many subscriptions, it just confuses people. So like you're already moving to a new model and you have all the options. I think, getting really just simple, keeping it simple. My goal for everyone would be to press the easy button. Like what is the easiest, simplest, minimum viable subscription, let's call that, right? That you can put out in the market that you can start testing and tweaking. You're going to learn stuff. You're going to learn what doesn't work and what does, and you're going to learn how you want to show up and how you don't want to show up. And so starting there, I think going out to market with too many offers, not even taking the time to realize who you want to market this to and who you want to serve. We talked about that earlier too. I just think it's so fundamental when people come to me and they're like, oh, I just want to just help me package it. I have to yes, but let's dial it back a few notches and let's start from foundational elements. And so most of the time it's seen as a fad versus a business model, right? So you have to really do the work to see the results. And so those that do the work get to the results, right? And they see it happen. They see their business transform. So that's one thing. And just furthering that idea of the fad idea, which is just not committing to it. So they go, they try it, they're and that's it. And so, committing, big part, doing too many out to market, not thinking about their client. Pricing to me is not the issue. Pricing, you'll adjust. That's it's the one people focus on, but that's not really where you should be focused. I mean, yes, you need to be profitable, but there's a way to price for profitability. And you just continue to grow, and you can always stop it if it's not. You have that option.
Yeah. And you can make a mistake on pricing the first couple of times and you adjust quickly, and it's simple as usually updating a website, right? So,
right.
If somebody's listening, kind of going, okay, I need to learn more. And we've had, Aaron Levine on from, Hello Divorce. We've had my virtual.lawyer, right? Other people were thinking this way. I mean, even Sonia, talked about some of the stuff she was doing in subscription in some of our interviews. So if somebody says, this sounds awesome, I want to do this, how long does it typically take to go from this sounds awesome to I've got a subscription and I'm running? And you do coaching and stuff, so you've walked people through this, right? Yeah.
So it depends on how committed you are to it. And I think it's different personality types, different, I'll say strengths finder types, right? Those with different traits will show up differently. So if you're an activator, you're probably gonna get that bad boy out really fast. If you're someone that's once to get in the detail, maybe that perfectionism comes to play a lot. You have to work through that perfectionism kind of mindset that's keeping you from just going to market with something.
Right.
But I've seen someone launch it. We started working together as fast as a week. She was in and she was out. She launched it. She was okay, I'm getting clients on. And then I've seen people that have gone
like a week.
in a week, like in a week,
That's pretty committed and ready to go.
That's committed. But she was an activator. Like she was really, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about a specific person right now, but like really just about taking action, and was like, she came knowing who she wanted to serve. So she was able to move through those pieces, and knew that, and was okay with failure. Right. So like, you have to be okay with things not working out so you can learn. Like, great, learn what didn't work. Let me keep it moving. And that allowed for her just to say, well, I want to get people on it, or to tell me they don't want it, so I can figure out who does, so I can grow this revenue stream. Otherwise, I'm never going to grow, because I'm just going to be thinking about it. So I've had people that have taken a week, people that have taken over a year, just because they don't prioritize it. And then with the way I coach it is to do it in 30 days though. So the goal is for you to get out with a beta launch in 30 days.
Okay. So like if somebody like literally works with you, it's like your goal for them is 30 days. So like, like Sooners can be done. Some people just don't follow it and take a little longer.
Yeah. And that's like anything else, right? Like, what else is happening in your life? What are you committed to? Like, is this where do you see this fitting into your business? So if this is supposed to be 20% of your business and 80% of your business is booming, yeah, you're not going to maybe commit to that date, because maybe you're like, okay, this is like maybe a distraction. But what I want people to really think about is, how can this transform your business? And if you believe that's the case, then you want to commit to it. But the way I set up and I want to work with people is to get them to figure out how to build a process, systematized, tech-driven business. If you do that, you can flip to subscriptions a lot faster.
Got it. Yeah, and which again, come back to, we talked about land legal tech before. I mean, like, I've heard you talk about that over and over, and have all kinds of like sessions on just specifically around that area, like systematizing and process driven, and really thinking about the client journey, through the like how, like being proactive and intentional about how the client feels at the end, in the middle, and the beginning, kind of working backwards.
Yes.
I love that stuff. So if someone wants to get started, like what are some of the, first couple things you always tell people? It's like, here, like, the stumbling blocks people are going to hit. You've coached people through some of it. How does somebody get started in subscription based?
So I think this is a good question. I would start with, who do you want to serve? Right? Like, that's where you want to start, but don't get stuck in your mind. Start talking to people. Start talking. Once you've identified, start doing some research. You know how to research. Go research. Go ask some questions. Go see what they like, what they don't like, and be an experimenter. Be curious, and be willing to hear things that you would have never thought, so that you can then come back and take that information in and use that data to make some really good decisions. So that's where I would start, and if not, then it's like, if you're like, well, I'm feeling all over the place, then go get some support. Because I think the one thing the legal industry does well is we're great at research. Where we can use some improvement is going to get help and support. And so like, we shouldn't do all the things on our own. There's something that within us that says, well, I could just learn it and do it. I can learn a lot of things. Should I be doing all the things? No. So like, if you can do that and get to a point where you're like, okay, I need some support, go seek that support. Because if you believe in this model, it's a great model. You just need to take the steps to make it happen and not stay stuck in idea mode, right? You got to move from idea to starting to take action.
Got it. And there's communities out there, whether it's yours or, some Facebook communities, right? That people can go find some support out there. And I think, I can't remember, we had another guest on who talked about kind of that, like, very good at like research and trying to figure things out on your own. Like, that's kind of like lawyers are classically trained in that, right? Like, it's go figure it out. You have to know everything. You have to be the expert on these things to be able to graduate law school and pass the bar, right? Like that's classically trained. And then there's a whole, forgetful thing in law school about, hey, teamwork's good, Whereas
right.
In business school, capstone is all teamwork, right? It's all team projects, all group projects, all, case studies with a team. So it's there's a natural tendency in business for people to like, hey, we got to work together to solve this problem. But in law school, it's actually not. And so it was an interesting perspective I got from a guest. I'm like, oh, that's why.
It's interesting, and I'll take it a little from my personal experience being a JD PhD student in law school. There was only a few of us in the program, and every time we were in like a similar class together, people would always say, you guys ask questions a little different. You approach it a little different. And we were trained also differently. So for me, I think that's a bonus for me, is that I have both I'm everything but a dissertation, right? So I have
Right.
extremely high level clinical psych training, and I have my legal training, and then I have my straight business expertise that I've been, training for the past like 15, 20, I know I've been in business for, yeah, at least 20 years. I've been working for 25 years. So yeah, I think between all of those coming together really does help position it as this. I believe entrepreneurship is a team sport, and I believe in coaching. I believe in getting support. I believe in building a team. I believe solopreneurship is a farce, and that we need to stop glorifying it because it's so unhealthy. You can't build sustainable, scalable anything all by yourself. And so the more we say no, go get some support, the more we say, yeah, they could learn marketing, or they can go to GNGF, right? Like that just is, it's not because you couldn't do it, but there's better ways to show up, and you're probably going to miss a lot of it because that's just not your zone. And so that's what I love about the recurring piece too, because you can start saying, oh, this is my area, and then I can go get the support and feel really good
Right.
because I can forecast it, and I can build that team and let them sit in their space and be really amazed and happy about it too. And it just on repeat, on repeat, on repeat.
Yeah, I love it. So I want to wrap up there, though, because I think that's a good spot to stop, specifically because it's about the support. So if somebody has questions on this, you'd mentioned earlier, and we'll make sure that's in the show notes here about how to contact you, how to find your website, because I mean, there's all kinds of tools and stuff there, but you literally have one-on-one coaching if somebody like has specific questions. My understanding, right?
Yep.
So you have that. Plus, you have the land legal tech community. So people can reach out to you in many ways and get that support from your communities that you've built. So I think that is, if there's any takeaway here, like reach out and look for that, because I mean, obviously we love the community, but like it is a really good community, really strong community for somebody who this is interested to. If this is interesting, right? Then you're probably a good fit for that Atlanta legal tech community, right?
I agree.
Those are
If
the
this
type
if this
people.
excites you, come on in. If you want to talk subscriptions, talk to me now. If you, depending on when you hear this, if it's available, come join me. And if it's not, go grab what I have available and start taking action immediately until we can start working together, whether one-on-one or in my group programs or in my workshops.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for again joining, and you bring such a wealth of like the business side to this conversation, and I think it's very helpful for everyone. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up? I'm Josh. Thanks so much for joining us. If you feel like you learned something today, think of how beneficial it would be to chat with myself or another one of our marketing consultants one-on-one. Go ahead and visit our website to schedule your free consultation. It only takes a minute.